At the moment, we're standing inside the new church of Ayot St Lawrence, which was built between the years 1778 to 1779 and designed by Nicholas Revitt for the local squire, a man by the name of Sir Lionel Lyde. In order to build the new church, he had to partially demolish the old church, which sits on the other side of the village, causing so much damage that the church was beyond any form of economic repair, and without the permission of the Church of England, he erected this fantastic Greek revivalist church. In death, he did not want to be placed next to his wife's body, and so what he agreed with the architect when they designed the church was to have two separate tombs at either wing of the church building. So today, at one extreme, we have the remains of Sir Lionel, and at the further extreme on the other side of the church, the remains of his wife. I'm standing outside the former home of George Bernard Shaw, the famous playwright, author and society wit. George Bernard Shaw moved into this house at Shaw's Corner in the village of Ayot St Lawrence in 1906. As many of you would know, he had extremely left-wing political views. At the age of 30, he declared that he had no belief in religion or God. And yet he died here in the year of 1950 at the age of 94. Shortly after Shaw died, his housekeeper, Mrs. Alice Leyden, was clearing out the cupboards in the kitchen when she heard a knock at the door. Without thinking, she automatically said, "Please come in, Mr. Shaw." To her surprise, the door opened and there stood George Bernard Shaw, looking just as though he was still alive. The figure said, "I heard a noise and thought you may have had an accident." Mrs. Leyden was about to reply when she realised there was no longer anyone there. A few days later, George paid another visit to Mrs. Leyden. This time she heard his footsteps on the landing while she was standing at the bottom of the stairs, and she heard him call, "Are you there, Mrs. Leyden?" After that, the footsteps died away. Unfortunately, we have no further accounts of any possible hauntings here because the property was shortly taken over by the National Trust, who don't permit paranormal investigations. And as the house is closed, we're on a Tuesday here, I'm unable to verify any of these accounts. But I'm fairly sure that Shaw's former house is positively haunted by him. I'm standing in one of the leafy lanes that surrounds Ayot St Lawrence, and in fact my next story concerns a very famous person, a man by the name of Thomas Edward Lawrence, or T.E. Lawrence, more famously known as Lawrence of Arabia. He was a friend of George Bernard Shaw and his wife Constance, and he used to ride frequently to their house here, or alternatively they used to visit him at his home in Dorset. His machine was a Brough Superior SS 100 motorcycle, which he nicknamed George VII. In 1935, he died riding that motorcycle in Dorset, trying to avoid contact with two boys riding across the front of him on cycles. And it's said that since that date, his motorcycle has been heard around these roads, leading around the village, and particularly so outside Shaw's Corner. We're standing outside the Brocket Arms in the village of Ayot St Lawrence, and this also has an interesting paranormal story to tell. This is the part of the Brocket Arms which is reputedly haunted by a monk or a priest who, after the reformation of the Catholic Church in England, was found guilty of some alleged crime and was hung from one of the beams here. This building was originally constructed in 1378 and provided quarters, monastic quarters as it were, for priests using the nearby Norman church, which sadly today lies in ruins. Quite apart from the monk who haunts the pub, allegedly people have heard footsteps and they've heard the sound of children. And apparently, more recently, activity appears to be on the increase in the rented accommodation area of the building, which is upstairs. There is certainly an atmosphere in this building, and just wandering around, you can feel, shall we say, a sense of history that's attached to this place. And I have no doubt in my mind that under the right conditions on a quiet night, this could provide quite a lot of activity for those who are seriously interested in the paranormal. And for our next visit, we're going across the road to the remains of the original Norman church. I'm actually inside the remains of the old church at Ayot St Lawrence, and there is a kind of rustic beauty about this particular churchyard. You have the cemetery laid out with tombs and graves, and it has a pervasive atmosphere of spirituality. I can feel this now. The church was built around the 13th century, and this was the one that was destroyed in order to build the new church which we visited earlier today. And yet my overall feeling of this building is tinged with quite a bit of sadness that I can actually feel, and it's certainly haunted. People have seen light forms flashing in and out of the churchyard and strange light anomalies on photographs. What we're hoping to do later tonight is to come back here just as it turned dark and be able to touch base, as it were, with the spiritual presences that pervade in this churchyard. I've spoken to a number of local people and they assure me that this is a particularly haunted place. And yet, funnily enough, when we were in the new church, it seemed to have a kind of benign and neutral atmosphere to it. And yet this place is alive with the spiritual presences that have lived here for over 800 years. The ambience here on the spiritual level is very, very positive, and I'm really looking forward to any type of activity that we're able to detect tonight. And in the meantime, before then, I'm going for a wander around this beautiful remains and to give you some kind of feeling and flavour of this particular location. This also has an interesting paranormal story to tell. Just turned dusk, we returned to the ruins of the old church in Ayot St Lawrence, and we're going to spend a little while here wandering around. There will be myself and Sean here on the camera and Tim on the other camcorder, so hopefully between us, plus myself with a handheld, we might be able to pick up some type of activity. We'll crack on.
Chris. When I was around the other side of the wall, it smelled like TCP, really strong.
Yeah.
So that's why I've come in here. And after you've just asked about anybody about, I could smell it again, really strong. Right beside me.
There is a bit of an odd odour in here, I must admit.
It smells like TCP or something like that.
Anything, Sean?
No. Not that I've seen anyway.
It's actually very quiet here, apart from the odd interruption. Any friendly spirits of this church, of this ruin, we come here, love, light and peace. We wish to make friendly and peaceful contact. Could you give us a sign, please?
It smells back as soon as you ask it. It's back.
Yeah, I've just got it. There's a strange smell of TCP, which is, for those who may not know, it's a disinfecting fluid, and it's quite a pronounced smell, isn't it? Distinct smell.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it's just floating around, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. If that was you who gave us that smell, could you tell us who you are, please? That voice is someone calling their pet dog. Okay. Just come back. Thank you. I'm particularly picking up here the smell and the imagery. I'm picking up a lady, and I'm seeing her in a kind of what light coloured dressing gown or shroud even.
Mm.
But she's not young. She's probably maybe in her early 60s.
I'm wondering if that's what I call that white mist going through there.
Yeah, and again. Back again.
See, every time we start talking about her...
TCP.
TCPs.
Disinfectant.
And that is not a plant.
That's a hospital disinfectant.
Hospital, yeah.
We keep smelling TCP here. Yeah? Well, it may not be. There's some odd things going on here, isn't there?
Mm.
It's not unpleasant, but it is, it is quite haunted. Could you tell me your name, please? This lady that I can feel here. I'm getting something like Marjorie. I don't know if that's right. I really don't know. It's Marjorie.
Not my mum, is it?
It's a name that just comes into my mind.
My mum's name.
Your mum's name?
Yeah.
I didn't know your mum's name was Marjorie.
And now I'm thinking about it, is it...
But why here? Why not where you live? I don't feel a connection with you.
TCP again.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
If you're Sean's mother, Marjorie, could you make that smell appear again, please, now? I don't think it is your mother.
I think I'd have known if it was.
No, you would have felt it.
Oh, yeah, I would have done. Because I'm not feeling nothing, I'm just smelling it.
It's just hospital fluid.
Mm. It's just a bit of coincidence when you like that smell, because of what happened to my mum, and then you said her name.
Yeah, I mean, well, Marjorie is a fairly common name, isn't it? Operation.
Yeah. Yeah, it. Back again.
Yeah, it's hit me now.
As soon as we keep talking about it, she's...
Did you die in hospital during an operation, Marjorie? If so, could you make that smell come back? Because it appears to be her only way of communicating. No, I'm not smelling it now.
No.
Did you die in an accident? Well, this is the burial area. There's the two churches, this one the ruin and the Georgian church, and this is the one they continue to bury people in, so she's got to be here. Marjorie, could you...
Yeah, smell again.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you. She anticipated what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
This is very strange, isn't it? Marjorie, could you make a noise? Could you kick one of the stones or rattle that metal grill over the tower? Could you do something to indicate, other than smell, your physical presence with us, or in spirit?
I can smell her again.
Yeah, I can't overhear just yet. It's funny you mention that, because I can feel a lot of pain.
Oh, I can hear movement now. Coming from over there, but it could be it could be anything. Could be an animal.
Yeah, it could be a
Could be a
bird.
pigeon up there.
Could be someone, an animal frightened of that lady screaming.
I've got it. There's a pigeon up there.
Okay. Oh, it's just come back again.
Yeah.
Yeah, TCP.
I can't smell from here.
Yeah.
So she's coming. She's going in between both of us, isn't
she? It's a funny smell, isn't it?
But you never forget it, do you? Something like when you're at school.
Tim's not smelled it.
I'm not sure, I'm videoing you both.
Okay, mate. That smell is definitely paranormal. Unless there's a TCP factory nearby. I'm picking up a very feeble lady, you know, weak.
Yeah.
And I've got that, that horrible hospital feel. It's got that taint to it.
I'm not sure if I can smell that TCP again.
Marjorie, could you come back? Could you give my friend Tim a taste of that smell? Could he smell it? That's the one who hasn't expressed.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I've got all sorts of weird, wonderful lights. That's just you.
No smell.
You showed it. It's gone there.
Okay, we've been here for around an hour, so we've got 3 camcorders to go through. It would appear that there's been a presence active of a female, I believe her name was Marjorie, and the image that I had of her was a lady in her early 60s, very frail, dressed in hospital clothing or with some kind of a shroud. But I could feel this sickness, this pain, this weariness about her. But on a few occasions, both Sean and myself experienced the phenomena of smelling what to us appear to be TCP or some kind of hospital disinfectant. Obviously we don't know what we've got on our camcorders. There might be e.v.p. there or a message for us from her for us to follow up on. But on the other hand, there may not be nothing there at all. It's certainly a bit noisy here. It's a very quiet village, but every so often, maybe every 10 or 15 minutes, a jet aircraft will fly over or somebody will make a noise from the street. But overall, I'm pretty satisfied with what we've actually done tonight. I'm very pleased that we've been able to come to the old church at Ayot St Lawrence. And if anybody from this village is watching, it is an absolutely wonderful village and there's lovely people here, and we thank you very much. And so from me now, I'm going to call it a day, and from Tim, good night.
Good night, folks.
And Sean, he's around the corner.
Good night.
But thanks very much.